Hello, everybody. I am Sarah Weiss of Passion and Pickleball. Welcome to the Spanglish World Networks on Zingo TV channels 249, 250, and 251. You can download the Zingo TV app on iOS and Android app stores. Don't forget to rate and leave a comment. This app is free and is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku, and Roku sticks, as well as all smart TVs 2016 and on. My name is Sarah Weiss, and this episode is sponsored by Live, Pray, Play. They create incredible gear, and I love wearing their windbreaker. This is one of my favorite outfits, so just want to give them a big shout out. And I want to open this episode by talking a little bit about embracing the pain of leveled growth. I actually posted about this on Facebook the other day, and it had huge engagement because a lot of us go through this, and this is very valid in a lot of things we do in life, not just pickleball. But in pickleball, it looks like this. We all get these ratings, and we all kind of are very like obsessed. What level am I? Am I a 3.5? Am I a 4.0, 4.5? Now, what it's like to go from those levels can be painful. In the beginning, it's not so bad because we're just learning and we're trying to figure it out, and we accept that there's some pain, some growing pains. But where it becomes more difficult, and where you see people kind of plateau, and where some of the people who are super serious that I'm going to go pro and I'm going to take this serious, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do this forever, where you see them kind of dropping off and disappearing is at the higher levels, around 4.5, 5.0. It sucks to watch our game crumble when we start to implement and adapt new techniques and strategies that are needed to take us to the next level. What I encourage you all to do is to stick with it, stick to the plan, because I know how hard it is to watch your game go downwards when you're trying new things, the new tools that you need in the tool belts, the new strategies, the new patterns you need to play, the things that you need to adapt that take you to the next level are usually going to hurt your game before they get better. It's the typical 2 steps back to go 3 steps forward. A good mentor of mine actually said, you've got to break down to break through. So stick to the plan, embrace the pain, actually love the pain, because that's what you need. So use this in life, use this in pickleball. Don't give up, and don't settle. Don't settle just to accommodate to your ego that wants to win and be happy. Your ego's going to say, well, you know what? I played better before. So instead of trying to, get used to my 2-hand backhand, let's just go back to that 1-hand slice that I'm used to and I'm good at, and we'll stick around there and I'll just get good enough eventually. No, stick with the plan, embrace the pain, and get it done. All right. And with that, I want to invite my guest, Eva Welscher, on to the episode. Eva, how are you?
Fine. How are you? Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you. Oh my gosh, if you don't know Eva, guys, she's one of the sweetest players that has recently retired on top. She finished out 2023 as the number one senior pro mixed and women's double player. Not only that, but she did that the same thing in 2021. She was a Scholar D1 athlete at the Northwestern University. She is a serious competitor, but also someone who makes this sport so fun. She is a community player, lover. She's out there having fun, and she leaves this really great vibe on the court with everyone she plays with. So again, I just want to thank you for being on, Eva. Pickleball, why do you play pickleball? What happened?
Well, what happened was my last son left, and he went to play hockey, and I was an empty nester, and I had a friend, Susie Mascarin Keen, who loved pickleball, and she sent me a paddle and said, "You know what? You're depressed. I'm going to give you a distraction." And I signed us up for a tournament in a month and a half, and she said you need to be a 4.5, which I don't know what all that meant, but I dove right in, me just practiced every day, trying to figure it out, scared to death. And it just took off from there.
And why do you think you became like obsessed with it? Like we all do. We get bitten by the bug, but sometimes it's a different reason for everyone else. I mean, aside from curing boredom and taking you away from feeling down and stuff, what was it that really kept you and hooked you about pickleball?
Um, you know, I'm a mom, and I came from a very competitive background, and I love being a mom. Um, but all of a sudden, like, the mom duties were gone, and I kind of got to focus on myself. I got to be a little bit self-serving, and I didn't realize that, like, I needed that competitive side to come out again. and that even though like my job was done as a mom, obviously just day to day, not forever, but that, there was still a desire in me to be physical, be competitive, like, you know, go on a journey that I was in control of versus like when I was a youngster, like my parents were in control of my journey. This time, like it was my choice, my money, my time, my decisions. And I felt like it was a chance to feel young again. It was a chance to just be physical and explore, just another area, another a talent with a racket again.
I asked that question to a lot of people, and you're the first person to say to take control of my life. That's kind of huge. Actually, I have goosebumps as you were explaining that because I know the feeling, and that's really a lot of what I felt. I got to take control of my life because I was kind of putting myself in this life where I was burning out doing what I loved doing, but it was like I had all these requirements and these responsibilities, and it kind of, started to get heavy. This was my way of kind of taking back control of my life and gaining my freedom back. So anyone who's watching here who has not played yet, take control of your life. Get on that field, get on the field, get on the
Yeah.
court and hit that ball over the net. It feels amazing. I'm really glad you brought that up because it's a good feeling, a great feeling, in fact, to take that control back and, put yourself in position to, be in a healthier state of being, state of mind, physically, mentally, emotionally,
Right.
challenge yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. And obviously, you've done very, very well at that. You've had some huge accomplishments in this sport, and I gotta say, first of all, hats off, and we bow to you and everything. You are very inspirational, not
Thank
just to all
you.
players but to women.
Yeah.
Me especially, I look up to you and I aspire to do
Oh,
a lot of what you've done. You deserve to be in the Pickleball Hall of Fame. You've touched a lot of lives, and just a big heartfelt thank you
thank
for
you.
everything that you've done.
Thank you.
But you don't just play. Well, now you're retired, but of course you still play, but you're just not on the pro tour. But what else is it that you do? I know you coach, you do clinics. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you
Yeah.
do within the
So,
realm?
first of all, I have to say hats out to Anna Shirley because she actually ended the year in 2023 number one in women's. I think I was number two, but I just want to say that just because, to give respect. But I I did retire and I am going to play the U.S. Open,
Oh,
but
yay.
I'm playing the pro mixed age with my son.
Cool.
And I am going to play a few tournaments in the 5-0 amateur mixed with my son. But
Awesome.
I am officially off the table for any senior pro events. And anything I do competitively from here on will be with my son. But other than that, I won't be competing at all. And I think that's just like, I mean, anytime I'm with my children, makes me happy. And if I told his name is Jeffrey, I call him Bubba, but he's 30 years old and he just won the 500 to 34 PPA tournament in
Woo!
Minnesota.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
there. I didn't know he
Yeah.
was playing. This is my
Yeah.
backyard.
Yeah. And so, we're just gonna go out and have fun. So I am gonna still train just a little bit. I'm really not doing much of anything. I am coaching. I'm coaching actually quite a bit, just on my own as an independent. I've been asked to, travel the country and do clinics. And I just feel like, I taught myself how to play pickleball. I'm a student of the game. I study video. I look at strokes. My ball machine is my best friend. And I feel like I had to suffer through turning a tennis player into a pickleball player. But like, I know so much and I feel like I'm so analytical that I can take people faster from, instead of going A, B, C, D, I can take them maybe A, H, L, U, and just bring them along faster because I had to figure it out myself. And, I love to see the smiles on my students' faces. I love that I'm on a journey with them and I take my job seriously. I invest myself into their journey and, it's a ride we both take. And I work hard and I'm excited for them every time they make an improvement.
It's one of the best feelings.
It
A
is.
lot of good players do aspire to also be coaches. Not everyone can be a coach. Just because you're a good player doesn't make you a good coach. It really takes a certain amount of empathy and relatability. Coaching is not it's not always easy. You got to find ways to relate with your different players because they're all different. They all learn differently. Some are visual, some are auditorial, some are kinesthetic. It's so fun to watch them grow and to be one of the pioneers of sending the ripple out into the universe of people who share it with their friends and share it with their friends. It's like you're an OG pioneer that has helped this sport grow. I've been only playing for 3 years, and I love the feeling of knowing that people I'm teaching are telling their friends to come and get on the court. It
Right.
feels so good. You and I
Right.
actually share someone we both taught, Beth. She actually said to say hello, so I'll do it on air.
Hello.
Beth says hello.
Hello. I just saw her yesterday.
That's right. That's right. That's what she was
Yeah.
telling me over in
Yeah.
Naples, where the pickleball is amazing. Actually,
Yes.
you know what? I'm going to be playing in the U.S. Open as well in Naples, and Naples
Wonderful.
is quite the hotspot for pickleball. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because you do a lot in Naples, right?
Yeah, so I'm here 8 months, 7, 8 months out of the year, and then in Michigan in the summer. And so my husband and I just happened to buy a property right next to the US Open. So we're like that side door where everybody wonders, like, where's everybody going through that side door as you drive to the back? Like, what's going on? And so I'm that side door. So it takes me about 3 minutes to get to the Naples Pickleball Center. And then my community, Isles of Collier Preserve, has 14 courts. And, people are just, you hear it all the time, but they're so thirsty to get better. They just, there's just so much opportunity to teach people, to play with different people of all ages. I find that what I love about Naples is that everybody's transient. So they're just so happy. I mean, the sun's shining, like they're just so happy, and they want to find friends, they want camaraderie, they want community. And pickleball is just that segue, it's that bridge that brings everybody together. And I just have made so many friends here. And it doesn't mean that they have to like infiltrate your life, but it's like everybody's happy to see Bob when he goes to the courts. And if Bob doesn't show up, even though we don't know Bob's last name or where he came from, people are concerned about where, Bob is, or Eva, or Sally, or Leslie. Like people are, they care about each other, even though they're not like, going out to dinner or really involved in their lives. You actually find a community of people in pickleball that actually care about each other and are happy to see each other every morning and are sharing part of their lives.
Oh, our pickleball buddies are important. We love our pickleball buddies.
Absolutely.
And it's so true. You notice when one hasn't been around, we start asking, "Where's Bob? I haven't seen Bob on the court in a while." And it's not
Right.
like you even are going to pick up the phone and call. You just notice it. It's like, I hope he
Right.
comes back because I like playing with Bob.
Right, right. And you don't, and the funny thing is you don't really know last names. And sometimes you don't even know first names. But everybody, like, I still hug them and I'm still like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. I just can't remember people's names all the time.
It's
But
so
the point
true.
is that we're still connected.
Yeah.
We're still connected through pickleball. And that is just a great thing.
I think you bring up a good point. A lot of people, I find, especially after COVID, and COVID kind of helped explode this sport. To be honest, people are a little more distant these days. It's not as connected as things used to be. And pickleball, I find, is a great way to be connected yet not super connected. So you don't have to
Right.
commit to calling people all the time. It's like you go
Right.
to the court, you see these people, you get this incredible community, incredible relationship, and then there's no like requirement to continue an off-court relationship, which
Right.
might sound funny, but it's actually kind of nice, no
It's
string
it's liber
attached.
it's liberating, to tell you the truth,
Yeah,
because it's not like, oh my gosh, should I get into this relationship or friendship or whatever? Or it's just like it is what it is, and it's simple, it's seamless,
effortless.
yeah, and it's just like it just is easy to be friends with everybody, because it's not like they want to like get involved in your life, but yet when you choose somebody that you want to, they're there. I mean, it's just, It's great. It's great. And I
Lifelong
do love
friendship.
that, like,
Yeah.
when my kids come down, everybody is just like, I'll say, hey guys, can I get a game, with my son or whatever. I mean, everybody is just like, oh yeah, yeah. What do you win? What do you need? Just so friendly and just, helpful.
Yeah. What's it like playing with your son? That must be so cool.
Well, first of all, he's super fast and I don't have to hit much. So I'm very happy about that.
You're getting all the lobs.
Yeah, yeah. So I go to Chicago in a couple weeks to train with him in Chicago because that's where he is. And it's just he is super explosive and he's super supportive and he's just happy to be on the court with me and I'm just happy to be on the court with him and we're just using it more as an adventure than any goals or anything. Like, if we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. And it's no longer the pressure of what it was like when I was playing senior pro. I mean, I self-inflicted my goals, um, or self-inflicted, getting
Yeah.
better and stuff. But with little Jeffrey, we can just play and just have fun.
And that's good. I'm serious about pickleball, but I also see it as a way, it's something that freed me from certain monotonies and burnout and stuff like that. So I really truly appreciate the fun of it, and I remind myself of that when I'm getting too serious. But going from the fun to the serious to the fun, it is a big difference. When you like, I'm training right now for my first pro event with the APP in Miami, and when I'm on the court training for it, it's very much like I am working on something. I'm very deliberate, very intense, and when I'm just playing for fun, it's free and loose and there's no pressure and all that stuff. And on Facebook, especially in the pickleball forum, when you start talking about the seriousness, there's people who get in there and they're like serious about, no, I'm just playing for fun, I don't even want to talk about serious.
Right, right. Yeah. But it's I I mean anybody who knows me knows I'm intense. I mean, I'm on intense on the court. My training regimen is crazy. And it's funny because when I announced that I was retiring, I just felt like somebody like flushed my brain and just it was like almost like this huge like pressure and relief just got flushed away.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that I actually was carrying that with me, which was really weird because it was more of just natural for me. But it was like everything was, and somebody said like, so I remember a friend of mine said, pickleball is only like 1% of my financial, statement, but it's 99% of my mind space, you know?
Mm,
And I didn't realize like how much it just takes up space if you're thinking about strategies or your strokes or watching video or somehow it just pops up in your head when you're making dinner and it's just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And then when I stopped, it was like I almost couldn't even hit the ball because the focus was gone. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I only quit like a month ago. This is ridiculous. Why am I missing? But I just, it's either on or it's off, right? It's either on or it's off. For me, there's no middle. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like I got to find out how to do this and perform like, you know, respectfully without being that crazy person that has to compete. You know what I'm saying?
the all or nothing. I mean, it's
Right.
all consuming. It really is all consuming. Like I mean, I'm just getting into where I'm starting to test the waters in pro. I wake up and I go to sleep thinking pickleball. We go to sleep watching pickleball. I mean, the other night we had just gone to the PPA. We watched all these matches in front of us on center court. What did we do when we got home? We watched them again on TV.
Right.
We're insane.
Right, right. But you know what? It's like it it especially, like my husband plays and he's, getting so good and it's like it's nice to share that with somebody because then it's like they know your craziness, like
We're
they
crazy
know,
together.
yeah, you're crazy together and it's like a fun journey.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm really lucky and blessed to have the same scenario. Me and JJ, we drill all day long. We mainly drill. We play much less than we drill, and it's just so fun. I mean, it's not always fun. Sometimes it's a little intense, and sometimes we like get at each other, but we love that we come home together. We get to talk about what we're doing, our strategies, our patterns,
Right.
talk about what we're watching, and what the next thing in our adventure is. Like, it's just a blast. And to
Right.
have that to be able to train with, because back home in Ottawa where I was, it was all about playing games. And I'm like, I want to
Right.
improve. I want to drill. Not many people like to drill. They just want to play the games. And I respect that and I love it for them. But for me to have my partner who I can drill with and really work on these things and start to go through, like what I was saying at the beginning of the episode, adapting new skills and techniques and strategies and going through the pain of it, trying to adapt it
Right.
with someone you love so that you're not doing it on the court and rec games and getting all frustrated and stuff. You can do it with
Right.
someone who gets why you're frustrated and goes through it
Right.
themselves.
No,
Oh,
and that it is, I think it is important because I mean, like I said, I'm very big on drilling. So I tell my students, like, I don't let my students come back every week. So I said, you need to leave, you need to drill, and then you come back because I'm I'm trying to get I'm trying to get them to teach themselves and problem solve themselves
mm,
and then put the work in. And if you don't put the work in, like, I'm not your coach, I'm not the coach you want. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking for like longevity. And so when I trained, I was doing like 6 days a week. I drilled, I used my ball machine. I like to drill 2 versus 1.
mm,
Um, just because it really puts pressure on one person versus two, and then you have to, like, the one person gets suffocated and then the other two have to figure out like how to use that box, the whole box, and not just the left foot or something. And so I really like, I'm very, very big on that in my coaching as far as
mm.
drilling. And then I do that with my husband. And so that is really fun to be able to then do that and have him bring him along now. But the whole drilling aspect, I don't know if that you were going that way, but drilling is like number one on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you hear from a lot of the top pros, they'll say the same thing. They'll drill more than they play. Most of the top pros are doing the exact same thing. I like that you do the 2 versus 1. The pressure on the solo person, that's a huge learning experience. And I find that when you're put in those high pressure, high intensity scenarios, you start to train your instincts instead of just training your mind, because you don't have time to think, right? You have
Right.
to play instinctive, and you start to really kind of form the patterns and stuff needed instead of overthinking. Getting stuck in your mind is not helpful.
Right.
What are your thoughts on the whole mindset of this? I love finding out what the pro mentality, the championship mentality and emotional state is. What has that been like for you?
Well, you know, I I always took my like, as a partner, I always look at it as a job. Okay, because we're at the top, and there's, not that seniors have a lot of money, but there's money on the table, and there's rankings on the table, and there's all this stuff. And when somebody asks me to be their partner, I take it, seriously. Like, I come in very prepared, and as I expect the same from my partner. And I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that I am, ready for the challenge. And one of the things that I think helped me, I'm not a big person. I'm not necessarily the fastest person. And, my hands were always fine, but they were never super fast. But the one thing that I did, I think the best in the in that senior pro, space, is that I made sure that I controlled the point. And mixed was more of my thing than women's. But I like, I really worked on having like one way of hitting a ball, and then from the pocket, and then coming out of it 6 different ways, so that I had 6 different tools in my toolbox. And so then keeping it out in front and then being able to control it, I would read the room, and then I would have 6 shots in my head that I could possibly hit off that one setup. And so that allowed me to keep the team off balance, kind of feed the ball to my mixed partner, and then making just the right shot selections and being just unpredictable, keeping people off their, keeping them unsettled where they couldn't attack, and, always watching the guy. And so, like I said, I mean, as a senior pro, I mean, I just wanted to be the person that was the smartest out there. And because I knew that I had weaknesses, just like everybody does, you know what I'm saying? But as a pro, it was very intense to make sure that like you couldn't get to my weaknesses, but that I controlled the point.
That's huge. Thank you for sharing that. And that, I tell
I'm
everybody
not
one
sure
of
if
the
that was the answer you're looking for, but
well, I
somehow
mean,
it went off.
what it really touches on is the court awareness, court IQ, and your thoughts has to do with shot selection. So you're thinking about what's coming up next, right? And I tell a lot of people, especially my clients, if you want to grow faster and go from A to H instead of A B C D, is you need to add more tools so that when the opportunity comes, you have 6 shots you can choose from, and you choose the right one that keeps them off balance, so that they can't attack you, so that you're in control. I love that you said that. To be able to have that opportunity, it's like there's 6 different things I can do instead of just get it back over. Just get it back
Right,
over. you
right,
know?
right. And honestly, like as with students, they'll say, well, I'm just happy I got it over. And I'm like, okay, but you're past that now. Like, find the backhand. Like, read the room. Are they leaning forward? Lob. You have to read the room. And it's interesting because I've noticed that like even the 4.5 people who are looking to get to 5.0, they're just hitting still, even at that level. They're just hitting what feels good instead of like pausing and knowing that they have enough time to look across the court, the net, and say, okay, I see property over there. I see the back is turned here. The paddle is down low. Like, okay, ding, 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 ding. What of my 6 shots is appropriate for the situation? So I just gave a lesson the other day and I asked all my students, what tools are in your toolbox? Not what we wish for, but what tools are in your toolbox? And like 3 of them said, don't even lob. And I said, okay, that's your number one tool now. That's your number one tool. You're going to go to that first. If it's not the appropriate shot, then you can go to the dink and the drive and whatever shots you have. But that's going to be the first one so that you get used to having that be one of your selections. So, and eventually it will become common for you to say, okay, and obviously this is a split second decision. I mean, obviously, like you just have to train yourself. And that's why I do the 2 versus 1, because I can pick one of my 6 shots. And if I just drill with one person, I'm stuck just hitting. I take so many shots off the table. And then when you get to competition, you're not thinking behind the guy, or you're not thinking this or behind the girl or flicking or something, because you've just trained yourself to go one way. And so that's one of the reasons I always train 2 versus 1 versus even 4, is just because then it forces you to like instantaneously make that decision. But that's how I teach too, is like, okay, we're adding tools to your toolbox. It's going to be the number one item that's in your Rolodex. So you're going to choose that first. If it doesn't work, let's move on.
I can't tell you how much I love that. Because, when at the start of the episode, I talked about how leveled growth is painful. So the people who don't like lobs, and you're like, no, you're going to lob now, it's painful. But once you have that, programmed into your instincts, and you can do it effortlessly without having to think about it, because you are noticing the signs that you need to do that.
Right.
After that pain, oh, you just added something so powerful to your game. So as
Right.
long as you can hang through the pain and go, oh, I suck
Right.
right now because I'm focusing. For me right now, it's the 2-hand backhand drive from the baseline. I have a hard time with it, so I'm working on it solely.
Right.
It is my
Right.
number one shot. That's all I'm working on, mainly with my
Right.
2 hands, because I love my backhand slice. It's beautiful.
Right.
I don't
Right.
need to
Right.
work on it anymore.
Right.
Oh, it's painful.
Right. But you know what? I mean, I took a whole summer, and because I'm a tennis player, Is your background tennis too?
No, I don't have a racket
Oh,
sports
okay.
background. So,
Okay, I was just wondering. Well, the thing is that you'll see a lot of the tennis players solely want to hit their forehands out there,
yeah.
because the court is small and it's easy just to get to your forehand. And then um, I realized that like my backhand needed to be like threatening. And so I
Mm,
spent not last summer, but the summer before, perfecting my backhand and getting 6 shots off my backhand from more of the deuce court, just because I work more for mixed. And um, now my backhand's actually better than my forehand. But it was one of those things, is I look at your game and say, where am I weak? And you're like, okay, like put the time in, figure it out. Stop running around your forehand. You're a small person. You're leaving all this property open. Hit the dang backhand and,
mhm.
get your team to that kitchen. It's like, I mean, it's just you have to be able to be, critical of yourself and yet, celebrate the things you do well.
Yeah, and it gives you so much more versatility on the court, right?
Oh,
We
it's
were
so fun.
watching Jack Sock. What an incredible player! You know, he comes from tennis and he runs around and he avoids his backhand. No, not to say he's got a terrible backhand, but he favors his forehand. And all I was thinking was like, oh gosh, I bet you he could use some, some attention to his backhand so he doesn't have to run around it. You know,
Well,
take
think
that
how
time
good he
away.
would be if he
Right,
really just focused on his backhand. I
right,
mean,
right.
the guy is amazing as it is, but I mean, just think if you just, I mean, he could get it probably, in a month, have everything, but it's just, I mean, you have to be willing to put the time in. I'm a true believer of ball machines. I mean, my ball machine, like I said, is my best friend. I mean, I have one of the best ball machines, and it is like
Which one do you have?
we Playmate, but it's
Okay.
industrial. It's like for a club. It's very heavy. But I go out with it, 3 hours, just the ball machine and me. We solve the world's problems. Nobody, no noise in my face,
Doesn't
no
talk back.
noise, just me figuring things out, and yeah, I think I've literally like told all my students, "Do you have a ball machine?" Nope. Well, guess what? Your credit card's getting hit because you're going to go buy yourself a ball machine.
Yep.
So
We got our
yeah.
slinger. We're all about
Ye-
it. Yep.
Well, actually, that is the one that I have been telling them to, because my son does such research, and he actually, um, I said, Bubby, I'm like, my students want one. Obviously, mine is just, industrial. And I said, what's the best one? And he gave me that one, and they're on back order. But I mean, that's a good thing because people
Okay.
want it.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's a great machine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like they're sponsoring me or anything, but I do recommend a
No,
slinger.
no. Yeah.
Great ball
No, I
machine.
get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you gotta represent the good brands. You know, those that's a great brand for sure.
Right.
I
Yeah.
see the Ernie ball machine out there is making some waves. It's a little more pricey, but I'm hearing really good things about it.
Oh,
A
good.
lot of good
Good.
machines. Use
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm with you on that. You've played with a good number of good partners, and you did mention earlier, you really like to be prepared for your partner. Do you have any type of partner you look for? Like, is there anything in a partner that you really need someone to have for you to agree to play with them?
Um, Obviously I'm small, so a bigger person always helps, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I don't I'm pretty intense, so playing with like, Eltoff was fun, and Jaime Ochins is one of my favorites, and Jose DeRisi, and you know, um, God, I mean, there's so many, Dave Weinbach. I mean, like if I do my job, it's very easy to play mixed. And I think everybody, all those people, Dave Furman, I played with last year. I mean, Scott Fliegelman, I played with last year. I mean, all these guys are just, first of all, they give it their all. So they're in the competitive space that I need them to be. And they know that I'm in the competitive space. Like, I have to have somebody who, like, will problem solve. So I can't have just one dimensional. I have to have somebody that I can say, because I'm so strategic. I'm so strategic. And I recognize when plan A doesn't work, I'm on plan B already. And if that doesn't work, I'm on plan C. Like I recognize things quickly. And so if I have a partner that's open to like, hey, you know what, I'm seeing this and what do you think? And open to, being flexible with what's going on, and trust me because I trust them, then it it makes for the perfect, situation. But I think I'm pretty, I think people do like playing with me just because I set them up well, and they know I'm going to grind to the bitter end, that, never say die. Um and I'll try to figure it out, you know.
Yeah, these are such good points. Grinders, problem solvers, people who are ready to put in the work, but flexible enough to shift the strategy and not, get stuck on the ego like, no, we got to do it this way. And this is the way, my way or the highway. You got to be flexible. So
Yeah,
those are,
no, I
those are
mean, if
really
we
good
have to
points.
change sides, if we, I mean, it's just you have to be able to like, you know, get in the weeds and figure out how you're going to win. And if you're down 9-2, like, oh, so well. I mean, like, figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
this is a momentum game. Like, get the momentum and change it. So I just love, and a lot of the people that I play with too just have such a big tennis background. They've lived the life that I have, or more, like Jaime. He's still, Davis Cup captain of Brazil. Um, but I mean, you just know that they've they were brought up and trained mentally, the same way you were, and so they can relate to you. Especially, when I get kind of crazy intense, like they get it. They don't. They celebrate. They don't. You know, like, why are you so like, I don't know. I mean, it's supposed to be fun, but it's not when you're competing at that level. It's definitely a job, and it is fun, but it's fun for me in a different way than it would be fun for another person. And that's what I need in a partner.
Yeah, that synergy is important. Being able to have some kind of understanding that clicks, right? And just because two players are really good players doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to click, right? Have you
Right.
ever had that kind of scenario in a high intensity elite game?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, between playing, different types of, team things and tournaments and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've had players who on paper you look really good, but when you compete, you can't seem to jive. And you know what? It's okay. I mean, it's like, so it doesn't work. Like, you tried. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It just is what it is, and you move on. I mean, it could be a personality thing. It could be, you know, um, the way each other plays. You're not setting each other up, and it just you can't seem to like follow each other's, signs and stuff. But whatever it is, like, so it doesn't work. Like, doesn't mean it has to be the end all be all. You just move on to another partner, and that's a learning experience too, is trying to find what makes you click out there, who's going to support you, elevate you, get you to mentally, emotionally, physically get to your best game and help you be the best version of yourself. And you in turn would do the same.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, playing with those different dynamics. And I gotta say, Ed and Lika, one of the big players out there, just gave you a shout out in the comments. Says Eva is one of the best instructors I've ever worked with. So
Oh my gosh, Eden, I love you. I
yeah,
love you. You're so cute.
he's
I did
such
a
an
clinic
awesome guy.
with them. I did a clinic with them. I probably talk too much, but I'm probably, probably a little too detailed, but I just want people to learn. I love seeing them smile, and I want them to learn and get better. And I get so just as excited as they do when they get it. And that's why, like, when I teach, I just teach enough that I'm I'm still enjoying it and not where it becomes a burden, and when it does, then I'll back off. It's just, but right now I'm loving the ride.
Yeah, I know a number of coaches who are working day in, day out because, like you said, there's a lot of people thirsty for growth. So it is about finding that balance, right? You do want to still be able to enjoy the job that we make of it because coaching is rewarding. It is a great job to do, but there are a lot of people looking for coaches right now. So it's
Yeah,
definitely good to find that even keel.
right.
Well, and speaking of, let's talk about one of the biggest places where most people are is 3.5. It's the biggest, I would say, skill level of most of the players, 3.0 and 3.5. And a lot of people get kind of stuck there. A lot of people get
Right.
stuck at 3.5. What is something that you would tell a 3.5 to get them to start getting out of that rut and moving up towards the 4.0 level?
Well, I mean, first of all, the way I teach is I teach why we do things. So I want them to understand why they're hitting the ball that they're hitting. Because I feel like if they really have a purpose behind every shot, that they will make different shot selections. It's not just bang, 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 let's get to the kitchen. It's like, okay, like you are responsible for getting your partner to the kitchen. Let's talk about the third shot. Like, why does this have to float to buy time?
Yeah.
Like, so one is helping them understand what they're actually trying to do. Because I don't think anybody's really explained it to them. They've gotten there because of maybe previous racket skills or whatever, but they don't know why. Okay. And then two, from that transition area, that fifth shot, they just want to bang. And they don't understand that, like, they haven't earned the right to bang yet. They need to get to the kitchen. And then the next thing is that they have to understand that the purpose of pickleball is to basically make the other team pop it up, right? I mean, so you've got to be looking for the feet. You've got to hit down. And everybody wants the ball to accelerate up as it goes over the net. And I'm like, no, it has to fall as it goes over the net. Everything needs to fall, go down at the feet. And so they're it's almost like they pop it right to back to the people instead of thinking, I just tell my students, backhands and feet, backhands and feet. If you can find backhands and feet and hit those, it is amazing where your game can go, because now you have to figure out how to hit certain shots to get it down to the feet. Now the roll comes into play. um, and then also just resetting to get into the kitchen. So it's just, I think they need to know why they're hitting balls and what type of response they're trying to get. Two, they need to be patient and get through that transition zone and reset one or two more balls. And then three, understand that every shot they hit, whatever shot selection they're making, has to go down. It has to go down. That's just all there is to it. And so if they do that, then I think that they would elevate quickly. But again, what is that all? It's about being smart. So you've got to be smarter, because a lot of these people have the skills. They just aren't thinking. They just aren't thinking. And it's amazing. My husband, when he went out for his first pickleball tournament, I said, honey, just hit to backhands and feet. I literally just say that. You don't know anything about these people. It's your first tournament. Just keep it simple, honey. Backhands and feet. He hit the first five balls to a forehand. And it's like, dude, like, okay. But the thing is, it's amazing how you go out there and you just start swinging and responding to the ball instead of taking control of it and dictating where you want the ball to go. And so I think that that's where I find that I'm teaching a lot of the 3.5s is, be just become smarter first. And then we can add more shots to your game once you figure that out.
That patience is huge. Actually, Colin Johns did a video on the same thing, even just talking about 5-0s getting to pro. Is there, a lot of them are hitting that fifth shot too hard. Just because it's at their chest or their waist or their hips, that they think, well, it's fifth shot. I'm just going to bang it at their chest. But the pro level, if it's coming to their chest, they're putting that down at your feet and
Oh,
hard and fast.
absolutely.
You're
Absolutely.
not going to
Yeah.
get
I
away with
mean, yeah. And that's the thing is like, when you watch like, the Ben Johns of the world, all those guys dink forever because they respect each other's hands,
that. Yep.
right? But at the 3.5, 4.0 levels, they know that they can hit and win
Yeah.
points because people, their hands aren't that great, right? Their paddles down for whatever reason. And so they get a false sense of security that they are, getting better or having success. And then when they want to go up, they're like, but I had so much success before. And they don't realize that, like, it's kind of like golf. I always tell people it's kind of like golf. Like, once you start hitting the ball further with golf, you take a different stick out of your bag. So now when you go from 3.5 to 4.0 or 4.0 to 4.5, it's like now, even though you still hit that third shot, now the fifth shot area is a different shot than what you would do with the 3.5, and you need to make that adjustment. And then you have to get, because at every level now shot selections change. Just like if you're golfing, the stick you take changes with the distance that you hit. So they need to adapt, and they need to be flexible, and they need to be smarter.
Yeah, big time. One of my mentors actually once said, "What got you here is not going to be what gets you to the next level. And that
Exactly.
is not going to be what gets you to the level after it. So you've got to bring
Exactly.
something new." And, if you look at the game, like you were just mentioning, yeah, you can get away with that at 3.5, but that's not what's going to get you to the 4.0 level. And then
Right.
again, you got to continue to evolve, and it's painful. Like I said at the
Right.
beginning, it's painful to lose what you thought was working for you just to get to the next level. And I always tell people, like, at these higher levels, that ball's coming back.
Oh,
Get ready. It's coming
yeah.
back.
And faster. And
Yeah.
faster.
Faster and harder. You're gonna have to get used to that and anticipate it. Get used to knowing it's coming back. And not only that, but be ready so you know where it's coming back. My backhand's open. So they're
Right.
probably gonna go for my backhand, get ready to either counter or to soften up. And this is all stuff that you learn as you grow up and you challenge yourself and do the different shots and add them to your tool belt. So like I love having these conversations with other coaches because it's all very much similar in the same bag. We're talking about patience here. You want consistency, will be more patience. Get more tools in your belt so you can have more options. Don't worry about rushing too fast to the net. Take time and get your partner to the net too. Like, don't put them in a bad scenario. So this is it's so fun. But yeah.
I must say one thing is that anybody who is looking to become better at pickleball or starting pickleball, take a take a private lesson, because to undo the damage of bad swings is so difficult. And when you start pickleball, you don't realize that you're going to become addicted, which you will. And then you're going to come to me a year later with just chopped up strokes saying, I want to get to the next level. And now we have to undo what you've been doing, which is so difficult. So if you're looking to start pickleball, all I can say is you will get addicted. Okay. And two, find a good coach that will help you produce good, short, compact swings so that you can build upon that, regardless if you become addicted or not, but just so you can have a good foundation to go out and play. And then you can take it to the next level if you want.
Well, it's all built upon those good foundations. You know, you want to do the fancy stuff, the tricky stuff, the spins, the counters, the punches, and all that stuff. It's built upon the foundational stuff. So if you get really good at the foundational stuff, now you have what you need to do the tricky stuff. But when these people come with a year or two worth of bad habits, them trying to do the tricky stuff, well, you're not going to get it. You might have one or two that you get away with and you think, oh, well, I can do it because I've done it 1 out of 10 times. But if you want to do it consistently, you're going to have to do it with something that you do consistently, which is foundational. So it's very,
Right.
very important. So I love
Exactly.
what you're talking about. We're coming up to the end of the episode. So what does the future look like for Eva?
Well, there's a few things brewing. There's a few things brewing, but right now, I'm just trying to relax, which is very difficult for me. I'm coaching. I am CFO of my family's company, so I do work at night a lot. But I just want to be with my boys and my husband. That's it.
I love it. I love it. You deserve it. Well, well deserved. If anyone wants to reach out to you, maybe even reach out about coaching or tips or on social media, how do people find you?
They can email me at MU S as in Sam, Z as in zebra, 1515 at yahoo.com.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I know again you're
Thank
enjoying your
you.
relaxation right now, and again you deserve it. But to take your time and to speak to this audience, who there's lots of comments that you can go through from the live stream. You have so much respect out there, and it was just an
Mhm.
absolute honor and a pleasure to be able to interview you. Thank you
Oh, it
so
was
much
an
for that.
honor to be on your show. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Awesome. Thank you. And with that, this show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it.